Greetings and grace be unto all of you with love, joy, peace, prosperity, and longevity from God our Father and from our Lord Jesus Christ. And welcome once again to the Good News Reporters podcast. Yes, with me, your host, Dr. Furman. But today we want to talk about music. But before we get there, I've been meeting some family. Can I just, you don't mind? Hey, Delgado. Hey, where you at? Hey, Delgado, out there in Beeville, Texas. Him and Kathy and Sam had an opportunity to connect with them. And then there's Rebecca. Hey, Rebecca, she's out there in Germany. She's in London. I didn't get a chance to really connect with her. Yeah, but I've heard much about you, Mimi. Yeah, so look, and then, listen, last week, or was it yesterday? Listen, I don't even remember. But I was on the All About Me podcast. They did an interview with me. Yeah, they asked me. I was so grateful and so excited about it with Infinite 7 and Brick. Now, Jaden, yeah, he wasn't here, but good fellowship, a good conversation. Like back in the day, being able to sit down with some men and just communicate some things. And I appreciate the All About Me podcast. I believe they on it every Wednesday, 8 o'clock or something like that. But you can check, just you know how to Google that stuff, but I'm looking forward to go back and even looking forward for them to come on our podcast. Hey, listen, I really had a good time with them. We were able to exchange some information. I learned some things about them guys just looking at their website. Very excited about it. But just take a look. All About Me podcast, down to earth brothers. They like to talk about music. Hey, they talk about all kinds of things, really. But, they invite people to come in and just be natural and normal. Hey, you can come here too, but, I have to talk about my brothers, Infinite 7 and Brick. Yeah, I really thank you guys. Hey, I'm looking forward to come back. But we want to get in here and we want to talk about music. Now, a while back, I had introduced myself as Maestro. Yeah, Maestro. And things started happening. I never had an opportunity to get back to MENACE to Maestro 2. MENACE to Maestro was number one, me introducing myself online for the first time and the things that God would allow me to do. But I'm back now and I want to continue on with 3 and 4 and 5. I'm looking forward to bring some, hey, look, if it's something enlightening, yeah, it's going to be. I know that for sure because these are some things that, hey, look, they come to me and I want to share them as a maestro. So this episode is the makings of a maestro. And so, we go in and we wonder, well, what is a maestro? Now here I had that baton, that conductor's baton. And the conductor is a maestro. Now, hey, look, I have not had the opportunity to conduct the orchestra as of yet, but I directed a few bands and choirs, but a maestro is on a completely different level than a band director. Yeah, so I wasn't a maestro when I was a band director, but now today, another type of maestro is a composer. I am, by the grace of God, a composer. Therefore, I am Maestro, better known as Dr. Furman. Well, some people have been requesting to meet Junebug, but they will meet Junebug in the series, the 7 years of in-laws. But, yeah, we'll see that for later. But back to Maestro. The word Maestro also means teacher or a master, probably a mastery. He probably masters the music. And in most cases, it's just like other degrees and things of that nature, or disciplines in education, academia, that it takes about 8 to 15 years of study of education in music education. Me? Oh, I have about 16 years. 16 years of private and formal music education. And half of those years, I studied directly in music arranging and orchestration. I studied that for about 8 years, some private and some, like I said, some formal. But today I am, by the grace of God, let me tell you, I am by the grace of God capable to compose music for a 65-piece orchestra, even on paper, notations. But hey, look, if it come down to heavy metal, a 3-piece with an extra guitar or something on the side, yeah, I can deal with that also. I started communicating with a young man concerning that. But nevertheless, let me tell you. Now, I'm going to tell you straight up. I don't know all the markings, the dots, and the symbols that are used in composing music. But when I sit and notate music, no, not off the top of my mind, not all that stuff. It's quite a bit, quite intense. And I haven't had a whole lot of orchestrations to put on paper. I haven't had that kind of work. I did it. I learned it, especially in school. But, one day maybe it'll be used somewhere, using this kind of stuff. But not off the top of my head. But just like a good attorney, hey, if he fighting a good case, he going to bring out the books. He going to get them off the shelf and things of that nature. He going to fight a good case. So it is with music. The same thing. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to get my music books and I'm going to sit down. Like I say, I don't keep it all in my head. It's quite a bit. Maybe one day I'll be able to keep it all up there. But so to put together a good case, that applies with music. To put together a good piece of orchestrated music, yeah, I have to use books. I'm going to keep on using them as long as they, it's just like doing homework. Do you dictionary or doing your studies in with the church or the Bible, whatever you do, you got extra books, the thesaurus and things of that nature. So to have the books are very good for anybody, good books. Stay with me now as to why I'm teaching about a maestro. Hey, listen, it's really on my heart to do so because there's an absence of good music in our society today. Don't get me wrong, don't do that. There's plenty of good music, but I'm referring to how music that dominates the media. There's certain music that dominates the media and having control over people's emotions and giving them heartaches and headaches, and that is not music. That's one reason why I like to talk about music. Real music. Real music, it produces a good result. So if there's not a good result behind all that music, it's not music. Plain and simple. You can call it what you like or what you think it is. But if it doesn't produce a good result, there's some kind of ingredient missing. Wink, wink. Yeah, so there's a difference between good music and evil music. How can a person tell the difference? That's up to the person. That's their job. My job right now is to explain it. How they apply, or if they listen, or when they listen. There's some valuable information that's coming. More of it's coming. So when we talk about music, and we're going to make it make sense. We're going to make this music thing makes sense because and then you probably hear me repeat this over and over, they don't teach it in schools anymore. Music, there is music law and laws of music that should bring about a law for music. What I mean by this, music law, well, of course, that's the area where the lawyers get involved. Copyrights and contracts and publishing and things of that nature, so people sign their life away. You know what I mean? Then the law of music is basically music theory. The beats, the measures, and eighth note, whole note, you ain't going to put them in order. Later in the series, probably the 3rd episode, which is coming up right behind this one. I like to explain each of the 12 elements of music. Like I say, I really want to get into that. So what would that add? A moral compass, perhaps. Good and clean, that's music. Well, people say what they like, but the truth is the truth. A lot of the music that I have, what they call it on the highway, they call it congested. The music business, That was not music. Stay with me. Most of us know that music appreciation classes were once in the educational system in America, but recently removed. I just wonder, have you noticed, or do you pay attention to the fact that little Chinese children, some of them play the piano like a master pianist? Why? When I was attending one of the universities, most of the light-skinned sisters, they were playing the guitar. You know, like Taylor Swift. That was a normal thing. Admiring Taylor Swift, I believe they would. But, you know, guitar was a part of growing up. Learning some type of musical, educational instrument, or just learning music theory. They don't teach it at home too much neither. You know, but don't get me wrong, there's some families, man, they got some man children, they be rocking. I don't know if they teaching music theory. You know, you look online, you see all kind of talent and things of that nature. But any type of musical education can provide a well-balanced dose of discipline, diligence, and determination. Look what music do to the brain. Check that out. That's just, you know, that's what one of the things that music, I'm talking about music. Yeah, because that other stuff do something to the brain too. In most cases, put it on tilt. Yeah, so what I'm saying is this here. Can anybody really hear what I'm saying? Now, if you're watching, do you really hear and understand what I'm saying? So please, take time out, you know, give your child or your children some kind of musical educational background. It's a part of who we are. Music is part of us. Yeah, well, one day we'll understand it better by and by, like they say in the church house. But, you know, it's really a part of our nature. That's why we gravitate to it so quickly. We remember certain parts of it. Some of the highlights in a song just do something to us. It's music. But good music, I ain't talking about that stuff that, you know, we talked about that. Hey, listen, let's go ahead. Or would you perhaps allow your children to be taught about music in society like the last few decades? Rap, thug rap, gangster rap, degrading rap, killing rap, gun rap, as well as an overdose of freak rap. That's what you call music. Really though, you make it make sense. You know, now, conscious rap is a lyrically progressive form of true hip-hop. Now, we know hip-hop was clean, family-oriented, happy. We had some happy music. Hip-hop was fun. It was enjoyable by everybody. The whole family could, it wasn't that kind of dancing. No. Probably some double dutch jumping rope. It wasn't that. Now, so those so-called musicians took drug money, then corrupt executives' money, and created some kind of noise. But society, for the most part, because they pushed it on us, thought it was music. You know, Satan can imitate anything but love. Yeah, check it out. Anything but love, that's Satan. He can imitate it. So we're going to talk about Satan. His before and after in a minute. We're coming with it. But listen, so they took that, and remember the children when they were learning their alphabets and having fun in class with the hip-hop music, and their brain was developing in such a way? Then somebody took part of them away. It's part of our nature. They took it away, and now they replaced it. Yeah, now we all realize it. So the executive take a little beast-like critter from the hood. No, hey, look, there's a whole lot of good that come out the hood. Don't get it twisted. I'm talking about the critters that come out the hood, and help them use music to poison society as if they were taking poison and pouring it into the water system. Music has a power, and it was abused. Who gonna blame it on music? Rap is rap, and music is music. How they say, period, dot. If we allow rap to dictate to our family again, to our friends and our loved ones again, music will still be out of place. We need music. We need real music. Stay with me because I'm going to talk about these different kind of music that's being created today. Music needs to have its rightful place in our society. Music produces beauty, and rap ends up with murder, death, and destruction. Put it on the scale. You'll need justice. Moral. You got morals. We have moral. We have a moral compass. Look at it. Once again, now here's a question. Would you purchase a pair of shoes like them red bottoms and they have a hole in the bottom of them? I don't think so. Yeah, a hole in just one of them. No, you wouldn't do that neither, would you? Exactly. Incomplete. It's just like music. There's 12 elements. It need to be completed. It's part of society. Piece. Music does some things. I ain't gonna go through all those things, and I'm sure if someone wants to go and check out some of the things and how the effects, what music does. Now, I did do a little, it's coming up, some things I'm gonna talk about what I got from Harvard, and they have medical research about music. It's just a piece. I want to include it. I would like to include it. I did the research for it, but incomplete music can damage the brain, man. Did you see it? Look around again. But not only those who make the music, brains get damaged when they are just like a doctor. If a doctor used that scalpel the wrong way, somebody getting cut. So if people take the power of music and use it the wrong way, guess what happened? Look, we can blame it on anything, but one thing we need to add in that blame is the lack of quality music, which we all need. Music. I talked to a young man, what was that, Gatto. I talked to Delgado the other day, and he said he relaxed and was listening to some music from the 80s. Yeah, music from the 80s. That makes sense. That makes plenty of sense. Music from the 80s. Did you hear me? Music. So now, that music, some of it can damage the brain. If music is not properly presented like a complete full-course meal is presented, like the power source from the meal, it's like the power source from the music. It fuels the soul. I know the brothers asked me a question, and I didn't get that in. A question about the brothers on All About Me podcast. They asked me about what is missing in music. I did say rhythm and blues and hip-hop, but I forgot soul music. Music, that would fill us up like a good full-course meal. Man, we had some fun with music. We had fun with music. Even back then, they was drinking something like, sometime when they thought they were cool, they would drink some 99 Ripple wine and take a tote or two. And man, but they enjoyed music. Like I said, on the operating table, if that doctor don't use that scalpel the right way, so it is with music. How would the operation turn out? How do the music turn out? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You must be sedated before an operation, right? With the right operating tools, those doctors and all his assistants ought to be ready, right? So the music industry gives drugs to society to sedate them. Yeah, they use hoodlums. But those hoodlums were spending their time when they were in the hoodlum level, petty street drug peddlers. They were spending their time bagging. That took a lot of time, bagging up drugs. Took a lot of time to sell drugs on a corner. They ain't had time to be no musician. I don't care what machine they use. They didn't have time to be a musician. It takes time. Not all of a sudden I'm selling drugs and now I'm a big time musician. No. You're a drug dealer that paid your way to fame. That's just the truth. They ain't put the time in, sorry. A beat machine and fast rapping, well, that's how the industry looked at them. The industry look at them as fast rapping dummies. They can make a quick buck off. They made some money, man. Just think about it. How many, well, I know some do get killed and things of that nature. A few might go to prison. But how many executives go to prison? How many executives just fly away with their money. After, hey, they're fine investment in the community. And what, back in the day, and he's pickaninnies or something like that. They used to tap dance for that after when we was poor, when people was poor and they had to deal with depression and things of that nature. Somebody get on the corner and do a little tap dance. But that same concept is today. Some of them tap dances on the corner made a pretty good penny. Now, here's that study I was talking about with Harvard. According to the study at Harvard Medical School, I'm kind of read it word for word if you don't mind. Music promotes well-being, enhance learning. Am I telling you about that Chinese little boy? Play like a master pianist. Boy, 8 years old, so I'm gonna be 3 years old. But music promote well-being, enhance learning, stimulate cognitive function. That's the brain. Stimulate it, not like a drug. It hits somewhere in that same area. But music improve quality of life. Music, real music. When you're talking about that banging music and everything in the house is vibrating and stuff like that, you can't get no rest like that. That's mess up your nervous system and stuff like that. Well, a lot of things happen when it's not correct, but music improve quality of life and even induce happiness. Somebody can sing their way in, they feeling a little low, they can, I was telling brothers, you can shout your way out. Shout out, sing out, but turn on some music. You don't know how to get out. Music will do that. It will induce that happiness, the kind of joy. It does something to the brain that make you feel pretty good, almost like a good, intoxication of the brain. But music, something safe. And the answer is, music can activate. Why does music do all these things to help us to be who we ought to be? With, some music up in us, some real music up in our house. Music can activate just about every brain region. Now this coming from Harvard Medical School or whatever it is, university. And the reasons and networks in the brain, all the synapses and all those areas, the crevices of the mind where we might hide some different things, put away, corners of our mind, the songwriter said, Andre Crouch. We have trouble sometime in the corners of our mind, but that music, glory be to God, can go up in there and induce the happiness. So it does something to the brain, that music. I can't explain it all. I'm doing the best I can, though. And it goes to all the different pathways in the brain. The networks are strong, including those networks that are involved in the well-being, learning, cognitive function, and happiness. Yeah, I said that. But it said it again. That means it's so important, that quality of life and happiness. In fact, there is only one other situation in which we can activate so many brain networks at one time. I read it. It's the social activity, social participation can activate the brain just like music can. What kind of social activity? Hey, look, it's a lot of different kind of social activity, but there's only one kind of music, and I mean, for me, I'd rather be here with music opposed to getting that same stimulation from society. That's just for me. So now, music, keep in mind, music is a language, just like any other language. But this music, this language, transcends across cultures. Music, it transcends that language. It's reported here for 40,000 years. During history, music has managed to intertwine itself with religion, rituals, tribal gatherings, and even war. Music, they blow the trumpet and stuff like that. Back in the Bible, they was blowing a trumpet out the war. But music have always played a part. Just think, like I say, the language. This language of music. You can take a person from Hungary and put them on a guitar. You can take another person from China and put them on a bass. You can get a drummer from North Philadelphia. Get the keyboard player from England You can put different people from all around the world, and you put that sheet of music in front of them, and it's one language they all can understand. They can interpret those notes. The power of music, the only language that can do such a thing. Now, we know the language of God, but that's the only language that you can get people from all over the world. I remember the Sound of Philadelphia, their orchestra, MFSB, mother, father, sister, brother. They were from different parts of the country, of the world, international, orchestra. So the different pieces that come together. There are, 7,000 different languages? But this one language of music, everybody understands. Everybody, when you study it, right? I mean, we can hear it. That's our participation automatically involved in appreciating music, just the hearing of it, because somewhere down the line it's going to sound good. I haven't really met one person who do not love music. Well, I haven't met them. Maybe you have. And believe me, if you don't know for certain about the 12 elements of music, how can you possibly understand? Now, you can understand how to drive a car, right? That's power. Music is power. But without the right interpretation of music, I mean, like I said, to listen to it, participate, no, that's good. But when it comes down to understanding, maybe deciphering what's good and what's bad, that's the beat, and that's it. Okay, that's what you got. But music is for a good result. Music is for our soul. Music is like eating food. We need that. We need water. We need quality music. It helps us to function better. So stay with me for a minute. So now, if a Hispanic brother come up to me and say, hey, hermano, I understand that. That means a brother. A few words that I got. But if he come and talking a whole lot of Spanish, I might not understand none of it. It's very fast, and I just don't understand it. I might grab a word or two, but I can't interpret Spanish. So is it with music. It's a language. Like I said, if it's not in the school, who's teaching it? What do you really know about music? What do our society know about music? Is it helping us or is it hurting us? I remember one time I went to like a recovery unit in Philadelphia. I mean, they plenty of people all downtown and everything. But then they played the music, what was that song? Thin Line, not Thin Line, Faded Line, whatever it was. It was a song about drugs. So did they really know? Oh, it sound good. But you talking about drugs to a bunch of people who doing their best to recover. It really doesn't make sense. So when you have a music director say, well, we need this music and we need that music, and no, if it's a drug recovery type of situation, you don't want to put songs in it about drugs. That doesn't make sense. But some may say, well, it sounds good. See, there we go again. We're going in circles with that one. But communicating with a Hispanic individual, good morning, good afternoon, that's all good. But that's their native language. But music, all of us can grab a hold to music. Music brings about unity. Music helped to change things in our society. We've seen it many times. One time they were separated, segregated. This side of the rope and that side of the rope to see the same artist, a black artist. You know what I'm saying? So, just like the language, we can use profanity. It may hurt people's feelings. They've been using it for years, but now all of a sudden it hurts your feelings. And the language of music can bring upon a positive effect. And why I say that? Because people they abuse it. They abuse the music. So what you think gonna come out of it? It's not good, and they wind up turning it something other than music or something stacked on top of music. But now, of course, the educational system knows this. Somebody should be smart enough to know that the importance of music and the part music plays in all of human development. Yeah, all of human development. That's probably why America is kind of like still a toddler, still a pamper, pooper. Yeah, let's go. I'm just talking for a minute. But music matures you. It develops. It develops our society. It develops individuals. It helps people with their morals to be more respectful and kind one to another. Yeah, music has that effect. Yes, indeed. There's an old saying that states, music soothes the savage beast. And the scripture declares that when David played that harp and chased away them evil spirits from Saul.
So please, come on back and join us as we break down those 12 elements of music. We'll be able to distinguish what is good music, what is evil music. Come on back and join us. There's plenty more episodes in this series that we may gain some of the truth about knowledge that we need. Remember, it's not taught in the school systems anymore. Come on back. Let's learn some of this.